Is that better? I don't know if you're hearing me right or not. Okay. So how's everybody doing tonight? Okay. Yeah, this is only my second time trying this. And when I did it before, I was on the Chromebook, and that was kind of messing things up a little bit. The video wasn't very good, and so I did buy a webcam, and I'm experimenting with it. And there's still more to learn and more to do. I'm not, as you guys know, I'm a car guy. I'm not all that tech savvy. Um, I had to call for some help to get this set up. But anyway, things are going pretty good around here. Haven't done much to the Brooklyn Pony this week. Had a couple of things come up. I'm actually working on another video. My daughter managed to back her car into her friend's car and mess up the fender. So I'm kind of obligated to fix that, and that's what I'm doing. I started on a Monday and trying to get it straightened up. And I'm making a video on it. So it's to show how to do some body work. Even though it's a collision job on a newer car, the body work techniques will work on just about anything. So, Hunster, you want me to come work on your car? I don't know. Hard to say. By saying up here, that sounds like it's going to be a cold place. You know how I feel about the cold. But anyway, I'm getting messages from friends of mine. And anyway, new experience for me. Trying to get some feedback on this, see if it's worth doing. So yeah, it is much better picture anyway. Doesn't make me look any better, but just something we have to live with. Cold in Virginia, I'm sure it is. It was actually mid 60s here today, or on Monday, but it's dropped considerably over the past couple of days here. Yeah, 19 one day, 60 the next. Yeah, that's right, Luke. I thought I was going to be able to get more done, but it was just too cold out in the garage. I was, like I said, doing some filler work or Bondo work, and if it's cold, this stuff doesn't want to dry. So I ended up cutting limbs off a tree today, and just trying to do what I can. Ooh, Coldwater, Michigan. That doesn't even sound good, Hunster. If it says cold water in the name, it's probably a cold place to begin with. Yeah, Nathan brings up about the guy. He backed out on buying one of the drag cars. I don't know if I shared it on Facebook that there was I thought I had a buyer for one of the drag cars, and it was a guy who had owned it 35 years ago, and thought I had him. I thought everything was going well, and I guess he decided that it wasn't in his best interest to buy it back, and so he backed out of it. Hey, Roger. So I'm going to try to find another buyer for the drag car, at least the first one, and then of course the second one later on. But yeah, unfortunately, Luke Teverino. Any tips on wet sanding a car? I just started my Mustang the day when it warmed up. not much I'm gonna be able to tell you on that. Wet sanding it's probably better demonstrated than it is talked about. I mean, I don't know if I've done any videos on that or not, but wet sanding is better demonstrated, to be honest. I can tell you about it, but unless you see it in action, you're still doing kind of the block sanding motions, where you crisscross patterns, but like I said, it's probably better to show than to talk. John Hambrick, snowing here in Parkersburg, West Virginia. Yeah, I'm sure you can have it. JR Board, any videos on the 68 Mustang? Nothing new. If I do anything, for the most part, I'll be working on the Brooklyn Pony. I do have plans for the 68, more to do. I did buy new quarter panels for it and a new tail panel, and I plan to do those at some point, but I have to manage the time that I have available while the temperatures, if it gets warm enough, I have to manage that time appropriately. So I'm going to keep focusing on the Brooklyn Pony. Let's see. Nathan, you should see about getting some copies of the pictures he had. Yeah, that would be nice. I do have some digital pictures he sent me, and those are pretty cool. So I may just be able to do that. Clout Tube, I am a new subscriber. Where are you located? Well, I'm in Georgia. I'm south of Atlanta. I won't say exactly where, but I'm just south of Atlanta, about 25 miles, maybe 30 miles. What's the next project? Well, Mr. Fireman, yeah, I don't think so. I'm not going to marry you. Nick Anderson, sorry if it's been asked, but what's the next project for us to watch and learn from? Well, once I get the Brooklyn Pony done, I'm supposed to be working on I think it's a 69 Chevelle SS 396 4-speed car. And so hopefully that'll be the next project coming in. I'm going to try to work in some stuff on the 68 some more, and the maybe the basket case Camaro. It's been bugging me to have that car sit there. I've got parts for it all over the place, and I'd like to get some of those parts out of the way. So who knows? I may end up just taking a week and working on the basket case and doing the side of the car. That's one thing that's been the worst part of the car, really. And I'd like to get that done and just get those pieces out of the way. Gray 67 Fastback. Hey man, how's it going? Cheers from LA. Well, I'm glad to have you on here. I'm still laughing at Mr. Fireman. Let's see. Gary, I think it's Gary, right? ESTPST. I hope it's Gary. Should do the Camaro project as a break from Mustangs. Yeah, that's what I should do. I agree. I'm tired of looking at it sitting there and not getting anything done on it. Hunster, I talked to you once on the phone, but I want to take the time to say thank you for all the videos. They helped out a lot. Thank you. Well, you're welcome. I'm glad you like them, and I'm glad to share them. Ray 4, I also have a 70 Camaro with a 4-speed and needs a lot of sheet metal work. Yep. And unfortunately, a lot of those cars do need a lot of sheet metal work. We all know that any cars built in that time period always had problems with the rust because they didn't treat anything. Let's see. Clout Tube. Well, you are in a place much warmer than Colorado. I'm sure about that. I actually might be headed out to Colorado next fall. I've got a military reunion that I'm going to partake in. And so I'll be out that way. Breckenridge, I think, somewhere out in that area. So let's see, which is better for welding, body panels, MIG or TIG? Well, it depends on your skill set. I like using MIG. That's what I've always used, and I don't have a TIG welder, so I'm going to default to the MIG. It's simpler, and I mean you have a lot more control, I'll say, with a TIG, and as long as you're experienced with it. But I just prefer MIGs. Maybe one day I'll get a TIG and start doing some of that stuff. Great fastback. Did you hear they unveiled the 68 Bullet Mustang a few weeks ago? I did. I actually saw the video where Jay Leno was driving that car around that racetrack. Pretty amazing. I mean, and that guy won't sell that car, which I'm kind of proud of him for that. I think it's worth $3 or $4 million, and he won't sell it. And I'm sure someday he will. Whenever it gets to a certain point in his life, he probably will. But great story in that car. If you haven't heard it, look up Jay Leno's Garage and look up the story on the 68 Bullet Mustang. Pretty cool. Randy Brooks. Oh, wait. Glenn Williams. Do they rust in the seam sealer? Do they rust in the seam sealer? That's a good question. Some of them probably do. Only one way to find out, and that's to get the rust out of there, or we get the seam sealer out. Randy Brooks. I like your 68 Mustang videos. It goes right along with my 68 Coupe project. If I get stuck, I know I can watch the videos. And thanks for answering my emails on my 65 Fastback. Well, you're welcome, Randy. And I'm glad you like the videos. Ray 4. My grandfather owned it, and I got it when he passed. So that's cool. That's pretty cool. That's well worth getting into and fixing up. Mr. Frog, thank you for your service. You live down south, right? Are there good deals on the old Ford trucks there? I'm in Detroit, the Rust Belt. Actually, there are some pretty good deals on Ford trucks. I don't know what year model you're looking for, but if you look on Craigslist, there's always stuff popping up on there in the mid-60s, even early 70s. So I don't know exactly what year model you're looking for. I've seen some in the late 40s, early 50s, the big round fender ones. But you have to just look on the Craigslist and see what's there. Let's see. Ray 4. So is 135 MIG good for a lot of sheet metal? Yes, it is. I use a Millermatic 140T, and I've done every kind of sheet metal job with that. Plus, I've done heavy welding. Just stepped up the wire and turned up the amperage when I welded in the cross member in the Brooklyn Pony and the front cross member. So I just turned up the heat and burned it in. Let's see. Yeah, Glenn, you're going to find rust in those seams. You just have to dig it out and treat it. Beautiful piece of Colorado. Thank you for your service, sir. Well, you're welcome. I'm proud to serve. What happened to the mid-50s Chevy truck you were working on in earlier videos? Different shop. Roland Anderson. Oh, that was a 55 Chevy we were building for a customer at the body shop. And I left the shop before it got finished. And so it was still being worked on by an old timer, doing a lot of custom work to it. And I'm in contact with him, but I haven't seen the truck since that time period. So I'm not sure the status of that. Let's see. Dick Malloy. Hey, bro, I'm a MIG welder. Haven't done any body work, but am interested. Glad to find you from 76 Tucson Chevy. Well, I'm glad you found me too, Dick. And if you're planning to do body work with that MIG, just practice. Get some street, light duty sheet metal and start practicing. 67 Fastback. When's the next Brooklyn Pony video coming out? That's a good question. I'm still fighting the cold weather. Can't get a lot done, and it's frustrating. I want to get out there and make some progress, but currently it's a struggle to get out in that garage and be cold. Nathan, what do you think about spraying Flex Seal on the underside of cars and in the fenders? I did a little video on that stuff several months ago, where I sprayed some on the side of that 66 Donner Coupe that I have. That stuff is still holding up fantastic. And so from what I've seen, and I can't find any reason why you couldn't spray that on the bottom. Especially on the inside of the fenders, I think that's pretty easy to justify. That stuff seems to be holding up super well. Let's Let's see, Norris Net. Hey, Jeff. Thank you for the videos. I couldn't have done the 66 without them. You know what? I think you're welcome, and thank you for that compliment, Jeff. I'm still amazed by your car, and one of these days I'm going to get up there and get a look at it. I don't want to go for a ride in that thing. That is gorgeous. If you haven't seen it, go to I think it's Norris Net TV or Norris Net. You have to give me a lead on that, but he's got YouTube videos and Facebook, Norris Net, and gorgeous 66 convertible. I mean, just beautiful car. I don't, Dick Malloy, I don't use flux core at all. If I'm doing any kind of sheet metal, it's got to be gas. Flux core will make a mess of things. Florida Bandit, what kind of gap do you set between body panels when MIG welding? You know, that's, thank you for your service. Well, thank you. Gaps can vary. I mean, I try to keep, I don't know what number to tell you. I kind of eyeball everything. So I can say a 16th or 32nd, but probably a 16th, no more than a 16th. Usually if I'm doing some overlap panels and I want to make them fit nicely, I will overlap the new panel on top of the old panel and then cut it with a cutoff wheel, the little skinny cutoff wheels. And basically that'll give me the width of that cutoff wheel is a nice gap to get that piece to fit in there. And so that's kind of a reference point maybe I can give you. And depending on the panel too, if I'm doing something small, I may just make it fit perfectly flush and just tack it in and work it all the way around until it's smooth. Charles Wilson Peel. Hey, everybody, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you. That's a good call. I should say that, but I don't usually go to that route, but thank you. That's a good idea. Let's see. What about Bob? Hello from Sarnia, Ontario. Well, hello, man. How's it going? Glad to have you on board. Norris Net. Thanks, bud. When it warms up, we'll take her out for a ride. Yep, I would love to do that. See you, Nathan. Thanks for checking in. Harvey Redmond. I am fitting my rear body panel 68 coupe. Should there be a gap between the rear panel and the rear quarter extension? Let me think if I can picture that right. Between the rear panel and the rear quarter extension. I guess I'd have to see a picture of that. Let's see. I'm fitting my rear body panel. A rear quarter extension. I would say there shouldn't be a gap, but I have to see it to really know exactly what you're referring to. Because if you're talking about the extension that goes around the taillight panel, that's going to fit flush. There shouldn't be a gap there. 67 Fastback. Have you ever considered doing a coupe to fastback conversion series of videos on YouTube? Actually, I would love to do that. If you want to donate the car and the panels, maybe we can work something out. But yeah, I would love to do that. I think that would be a fun project, and that has crossed my mind. I've actually been looking for a 68 coupe donor that may have been, messed up in that way that I could make that happen. See you, Hunster. Next to the taillight, Harvey Redden. Yeah, I mean, the taillight extension to the quarter panel, it should be a smooth transition, and it should be relatively flush. I mean, you're going to see the line, but it should be a flush fitment. On the earlier cars, they actually had a little rubber gasket that went between those two pieces. So as people remove those, they tended to smooth everything and make it a straight transition. Glenn Williams, dog. Yeah, my dogs are barking. I don't know what's going on. They probably saw something outside. So, Mike DeFranco, you make that MIG welding look easy. I get frustrated trying to weld the panels on my Maverick. Well, I've been doing this quite some time. And believe it or not, when I first started doing panel welding like that, we didn't have a MIG welder. I was using a great big 220 stick welder to weld, and which is, you're not supposed to do it, but that's how I learned to train myself, let's say, to not burn through, because I was taking a stick welder and welding up seams. And so that's even more challenging. Let's see. Joan Hambrick, width of your wire you're welding with usually works on sheet metal, I'm told. Yes. 23,000. Oh, yeah. Okay. Width of your wire. Yes. That makes sense. 23 thousandths is the, or 0.023 is our weld wire. So that's a good idea for that gap. Norris Ned, are you going to do the top on the Brooklyn Pony also? I don't want to. We're the owner and I haven't talked that over very much. We were looking at having somebody else do that top. I'd rather not do the top myself. I got you, Roger. Okay. Clout Tube, have you had any experience with Warpage? And if Warpage, I can't read. It's not Warpage, it's Warpage. And if so, how have you remedied the situation? I don't really have much issue with Warpage, honestly, because it's all about taking your time. You can't weld fast. You got to take, especially on a big area. I do tack welds, and I might do, say, a quarter panel, and I might do those tack welds every 6 inches. And then I go in between each of those with a tack weld as I move along. I let it cool down, and then I come back and I do in between of those. And eventually, you fill up all those spaces and you just let it cool. You've got to take your time. You can't be in a hurry. Pontiac 442, hey, good buddy. Streaming looks great today. Thanks for the great shout-out video the other day. You got several new subs. The help was very much appreciated. Well, I'm happy for you, man. It's all about sharing information and trying to make all this stuff better for everybody out there. So Raymond Sawers, I don't know how you say that. Sawers, Sawers. Hello, Barry from Raymond in Newfoundland. Hey, Ray. I think we've communicated a few times. I know you've got some stuff going on up there, and shipping is a big issue for you. So I understand that. Ray 4, I served in the Army for 6 years, 100% disabled, so I'm glad to have my 68 Mustang Camaro to keep me busy. That's a good thing, Ray. It's always good to have something to keep you motivated and keep you moving and keep you going. And that's why I do so many things beyond even working on cars. I'm sure you've probably seen this shirt I'm wearing. And if you see, it says Team Southern Spartans. That has to do with the obstacle course racing stuff that I do. And I eat that stuff up. I love doing it. And this organization is actually Operation Enduring Warrior. And they help out veterans who have been disabled or are injured. And I'll show you the back. That's kind of their logo. They do these races, obstacle course races. They take a veteran, let's say he's got missing a limb or something, and they have guys that go with him and get him through the course, and they wear full fatigues and gas masks because it's not about them. They don't want to be identified. They're there to help that wounded warrior soldier get through the obstacle course, whatever it may take. And so they get him through it, but they're anonymous, and that's why they wear the masks. They don't want to be known, and it's not about them. So I think it's pretty cool that goes on. But that's why I'm wearing this shirt tonight. I wanted to partake in that, but I'm unable to coordinate my time to help out with that. So let me see what else. Dwight Armstrong. Hello, Barry. This is a guy doing a 68 coupe in Texas. I'm about 2 years into this. Hope to finish this thing by end of summer. Your videos have been very helpful. Thanks. That's awesome, Dwight. Yeah, we've gone back and forth. I think you've shared some little videos with me on that car with a I don't know what you call it, the fiberglass kit, the Eleanor stuff that was on that car. I do remember our conversations on that. You had a lot of work to do to get that car straightened up. 67 Fastback. Whatever happened to the Camaro that had flipped over and you were going to repair? Well, it's in the garage. It was on the lift for quite some time, and I took it down whenever I was doing the suspension work on the Pony. But it's still there. I still have all the stuff for it, and I really want to get it moving at some point. Let's see. What is the best brand? What is the best paint brand for the money? JR Board. That's debatable. I mean, I'm going to be prone to use PPG. They were our main provider at our shop, and so that's what I'm familiar with. And I have great contact with a PPG rep, and so if I have any questions, I can contact him. But I'm going to default to PPG. Just I don't know any other paints. I'm sure there's others that are great. I don't know, but that's the one I know, so that's what I stick with. Glenn Williams. Ray, hang in there. Yep. Yep, shipping is expensive for the Newfoundland area. RMTBC, hi Barry. What is your preferred method of cooling welds metal as you move around the panel? I'll pretty much let them cool themselves. I do an air cool. Because normally I'm doing a big panel, like a quarter panel, I can move from one section to another, top or bottom, while another area cools. I might go to a whole nother part of the car and let it be away from it for 20, 30 minutes, let it cool down. I don't get in a hurry. I don't do anything to force the cooling of it. It's just not worth it. It just will cause more problems down the road. So I don't mess with that. Wade Chandler, hey Barry, I just happened to see you were doing a live session. Glad I caught it. I was out on Sunday looking at a project car, 69 Mustang convertible. That sounds pretty cool. Anyway, talking with the owner, we got talking about how pretty rough cars can be and saved. And I was telling him about your channel, and he had seen the Brooklyn Pony series. We were both saying how your stuff is awesome. That's all. Well, I'm glad to hear that, Wade. It's funny. I see people or hear people watching these videos, and I'm happy that they're watching them and learning from them. And it just, I don't know. I guess I'm just kind of numb to the idea of how much whatever I'm doing is helping other people, because it feels like, to me, I guess the word, it feels so natural because I've been doing it so long that I don't think about how challenging something may be for somebody else. And not to say I'm better than anybody. I'm not implying that. I'm just saying I'm just so used to doing this sort of stuff that it just feels so natural to me. So, but I'm really, really happy that people are getting a lot out of these videos. Raymond Sawyers, would you use argon for MIG welding? Yes, I actually use an argon CO2 mix. Wade Chandler, in case anyone was looking for a Mustang project, there's one on Craigslist in Atlanta. It's a 69, and he's asking $2,900. Yep, check that out. All right, I got Seb from Montreal, Canada. I don't know what QC means, but he's from Montreal. Hey, Seb, how's it going? Have I used, Glenn Williams, have you used Tractor Supply paint? No, I have not. I haven't really researched it, so I don't have an answer on that. 3X Xena, do projects like Brooklyn Pony change a lot as the build goes on, or does the game plan stay the same from beginning to end? I'd like to say things stay the same, but as you've seen from like the suspension issues I've had that I had to deal with, modifying things. So stuff like that kind of gets in the way and changes, timeline or how things are going to finish out. So for the most part, I think the projects tend to stay on the same course. If you look back on the Mystique and the light blue Mustang, those had a set path, and I just stayed on that. So Let's see. Dick Malloy. I use PPG for all my projects. A++, hands down. Whoops, I lost it. Always there to help. That's true. Yeah, they are. Brian Bergman. If I have no gas, should I use flux core for panel welding or wait till I have more gas? Wait till you have more gas. I would not use flux core on any kind of sheet metal work. If you're doing a heavy burn, you know, in a heavy frame or material like that, that's fine. But otherwise, I'm going to say just wait for gas. You need to have gas. Dick Malloy he says it gets us clear from Napa. I haven't tried their clear. I actually use it's not a PPG, it's a European clear. I can't think of the name right now, but it's provided through my PPG rep. So my dogs are getting angry. I think somebody else just showed up. Wade Chandler, I passed on it only because I have a stack of projects already, but someone could save it. By the way, we both said that your video showed us that with time and care, you can get it done. And that's the point. You know, people tend to give up on projects and they get frustrated. And that's why I like to share this stuff. I want people to know you can do it. You just got to figure out a way to get there. And hopefully, you know, that's part of the process is showing these videos. QC is Quebec, by the way. Yep. Well, it wasn't in caps. It was lowercase, so that kind of threw me off. Seb, Quebec, French land. Okay. Dick Malloy, I like the argon CO2 mixed with gas. Yes. Ready for that's awesome. All right. Raymond Sawyers. Yeah, CO2 and argon is I don't know. I'm told argon is for alloy or stainless and TIG. Yeah, I can't tell you specifically what argon, straight argon would be for, but the argon CO2 mix is good for steel, regular steel. What are your thoughts on the HVLP turbine systems for the novice painter? You know, I have not dealt with those directly. I've heard great things on them. I think if you're talking turbine, are you implying the waterborne setup? Because I've seen some stuff on that, but I'm not sure if that's exactly what you mean. But I don't know. When you say novice painter, are you talking somebody who's never touched a spray gun or somebody with little experience? That's kind of a tough question to answer. Mike W., great videos. Thank you for doing them. You're welcome. Brian Bergman, thanks for the answer. Really enjoy your vids and the knowledge you're willing to share. You're welcome too, Brian. Raymond Sawyers, I got my new Dynacorn fenders made in Taiwan. Yep. Yeah, we talked about that. I've shown that the fenders, you know, that they say, I've shown in my videos, they put a Dynacorn sticker right on top of the previous manufacturer's name. Norris Net, where do you get most of your parts from? Well, because I'm in the Atlanta area, Mustangs Unlimited is my go-to because I can drive. It takes me an hour to get there, and I can go look at the panels or look at the parts and put my hands on them and pick out the quarter panels or the fenders that I want. So that's my default answer. I have gotten some parts from CJ Pony Parts, and I've been happy with how they respond. And the parts that I've gotten from them, if I've had an issue, they're quick to respond and take care of it. So I'm pretty happy with them too. Seb, any thoughts on poly bushing versus stock? Not really. I mean, the poly bushings are great. You know, they tighten up everything a little bit. They also tend to make some noise. You probably won't notice much of a difference in a daily driver. So, I mean, it's nice to look at. I've used them. You know, they look cool underneath the car, but I can't say that I would go and make that my default choice every time or not. Hindsight, didn't use an HVLP turbine to prime the Malibu. You know, I don't know. I don't know what the turbine is. Kind of confused by that. I do have an HVLP gun. I use HVLP, but I don't know what turbine means. Graco and Eastwood, RMTBC, Graco and Eastwood offer a system, and yes, very little experience. Well, anything offered by Eastwood is going to be a good product. I can say that. I'm not familiar with Graco, but I guess I'm kind of lost at the turbine thing. I don't know what that means. Dwight, man, you have a pretty good memory. That's right. It does have the Eleanor kit. I've done a lot of work to modify on the nose clip. I'll send you some pictures sometime. Too cold here to work on. Yeah. I'm sure. Yeah, I do remember the videos and the chat we've had on that car. I knew it was a lot of work. So Wade Chandler, there's a turbine system that doesn't use a compressor. There's some sort of small turbine that supplies the air. That might be what he's talking about. Okay. I am unfamiliar with that system. So anything I've used has just been standard air gun. And I use the 3M cups on top. Wade and Barry, yes, that's what I'm referring to. It's a non-compressor system. Okay, now I maybe have some very slight memory of that. Yeah, Roger. I don't fully remember that, but I remember we were trying to spray that thing with a touch-up gun at Malibu. So I can't say for sure. But no, I can't give you any answers on the turbine system because it's just, I don't have an answer. I'm not going to tell you I know when I don't know. Okay. Yeah, we borrowed one from somebody. John Hambrick, there are some guns that use a turbine for a fan to supply air instead of a compressor. Okay. Brian Bergman, not to state the obvious, but a turbine is a compressor. Oh, okay. Wade Chandler, I know you have a T-post lift, but have you or anyone here have any experience with a 4-post lift brand? I see Backyard Buddy and BenPack, but wondering about recommendations. Yeah, I have not used a 4-post. I know they sell one at Summit. Actually sells a 4-post lift, which I've looked at. If I had enough space, I'd probably buy one just to have more ways to store cars. Junior Escarino, what about the basket case? Dude, when is it going to start? You know, I torture myself every time I walk out in the garage and I'm, working on a Mustang or working on the other Mustang or whatever, and the Camaro is sitting there. And I mean, I'm telling you, I have I have 2 storage buildings outside, 2 small storage buildings. One of them has the quarter panels in it from that car. The other one has all the interior, the roof for that car, the hood, the deck lid, the glass, all those pieces and panels. Yeah, basket case. And everything is there. And I've got that whole side of the car that I'm going to replace. I mean, it's a complete whole side. I mean, it's got the wheelhouse and everything all the way, rocker panels, roof rail, all the way up into the front where it meets the firewall. And it's sitting there. And I'm telling you, I keep looking at it. And I guess as I'm working on the Mustang, in the back of my mind, I'm rolling around the process of how to do that Camaro in a way that will only take a few days to get that, at least the side of the car done. And I guess there's a little movie playing in my head that is removing the spot welds, clearing the seams, doing all these different things. And so that movie just hasn't played enough times yet, but it's coming. That's all I can say. I mean, the basket case, that's a back burner project because, I do one, like I said, one customer car at a time. And that's where I'm at. So I'm doing the Mustang at this point. The old saying about the shoemaker's kids go barefoot comes to mind. Yeah, you're right about that. That's why the 68 Mustang is sitting. I did videos on that car, and I have the it runs. I can drive it up and down the street. Everything works. But it, I did this. I stripped it down, and I found the problems with the quarter panels, and that kind of just threw a curveball at me. So I just had to stop and continue on the Brooklyn Pony. Seb, do you know if a front grille repair can be welded and repolish 66 Chevy? 66 Chevy truck. I know there's a difference. The truck is probably going to be steel. I'm assuming repolish, you're referring to either an aluminum grill out of a 66, I don't know, Impala or Chevy 2 or something. I can't say I've seen that done as far as a repair. That aluminum's going to put up a fight because it's pretty thin to begin with. Richard Avenshine, argon use with TIG welder. You won't rub it clear. You won't rub it clear, made by PG. Ask your rep about, I think it's DA75. Used to be a Ditzler paint. It's one of the best clears out there. Okay, I'll keep that in mind. Dick Malloy, what kind of grinding pads do you prefer? I use 3M. And the reason I use 3M is because my main job, we go through 3M 2-inch sanding discs by the hundreds or thousands. And for the process, they wear to a certain point and then we can't use them. And so I'm allowed to take those home. So I have boxes and boxes of 3M sanding discs in 80 grit and 180 grit and whatever it is, the blue backing, I think yellow backing and gray backing. So I have a bunch of that stuff, and I've never bought any of them. They, like I said, they go through so many that I salvage them. So that's my default answer on that one. Seb says 66 Impala, no aftermarket yet. Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, you can try. I don't know how badly damaged whatever it is you have, but surprised there's not an aftermarket for that grill. Have you checked with Auto Metal Direct? They might have something. Give them a shot. Mike DeFranco, bottom of my shock tower is rusted pretty much all the way across. Would you lean towards patching or replacing? Well, if it's the shock tower itself, I mean, I'm kind of on a more of the, I don't know, more of a perfectionist, I guess. I would probably replace the tower. I have seen them patched, and if you can form the metal and find the right thickness, there's no problem with that. But depends on what you want to do. I mean, I don't have a problem with patching it. So if you feel comfortable with it, then by all means, patch it. Yeah, Dick Malloy asked what grit. Well, I use, like I said, I think it's 80, maybe a 120, and I don't know what the other one is. I go by the colors. The backside of the sanding disc has a different colors for different grits. JR Board, have you heard of or used these makeshift tip jigs? Would you recommend for a one-time beginner build? Oh, you're talking about the rollover jigs, the plywood. If that's what you're referring to, then I have seen those, and I've been pretty surprised and impressed by just how well they seem to work. I thought about building one myself. There's another guy out there I've seen him on Facebook, make something called the roller hoop. And if somebody wants to donate one of those to me, I would take it. Apparently it's a jigging system that you can bolt it to your, the body, in this case, the Mustang being a unibody, it'd be the front and the rear. And it actually has big hoops, and the body is attached to those. And there's a base with rollers, and that thing rotates within those rollers. Pretty cool design. I've looked at them, and I wouldn't mind having one, but I just haven't been able to justify buying one just yet. But yeah, I do like those, the rollover or tip jig. Thomas Dane Jackson, hi from San Antonio. Working on a 66 Coupe Mustang. Your videos have helped me a lot. Thank you. Keep it up. Well, you're welcome, Thomas. I'm glad they're helping you, and I'm glad you're making use of them. Brian Bergman, do you have a preference? Paint, body color first, and the graphics, or other way around? Or are there too many variables for a pat answer? I'm going to say there's too many variables. We've done cars at the shop in the past where we painted a base color of, the car was a Chevelle. It was going to be black. So we did a base silver, laid on the graphics on top of that, sprayed the car black, and then pulled the base graphics off to reveal the silver underneath, and then of course clear coated it, and that worked out pretty well. But there's too many ways for the to have problems one way or the other. So I can't give you a definitive answer on that. I can just tell you from what I've done before. 88 Katana 600. Sup, Joe Daddy's Garage? Well, hanging out, doing videos. Let's see. Dwayne Barton, begging for money. Well, okay. Aren't we all? Steve Richardson, 69 Fastback CJ, going to install full floor pan. Does the Dynacorn full floor pan fit good? Yes. I can't say in a 69, I can't say it definitely fits good. I don't know. I can tell you from my experience with the 65, 66 version that I've been very pleased with how they fit. The only, like I said, I think I've shown it, I know I've shown it in my Brooklyn Pony videos, the difference in the frame rail width when it came to putting in that custom TCI suspension. But for everything I've seen, they seem to be just fine. I don't have any issue with them, so pretty happy with that. So what else is going on? Oh, I got my thumbs down guy showed up. I always like that. Got to make sure the thumbs guy should. John Gaston. So when is your Velocity show coming? That would be a tough one to answer. I don't know. That's the only answer I can come up with. I would love to do a TV show, but they'll have to find me, I guess. I don't know. Seb, repainting over polyurethane paint, strip, or just sand? That's a tough question. Without seeing it, knowing the condition of the paint and how long it's been on there and everything like that, I can't give you a good answer on that. If it's got cracks or chips or anything, it's going to have problems. I really don't have a good answer for you. If assuming it's in decent condition, sand and prime and repaint, but I really don't. I can't give you a definitive answer on that. Hold on. Anyway, I missed a phone call. Let's see. AR-15 dude. Hey, Joe, I use the Rage Filler, and that thing is great. Yes, Rage Filler is pretty awesome. I've had good luck with that. So they have different versions of it too. They got gold and different levels, you know. But so yeah, Rage is good. Brian Bergman, this is my first time live. What a nice forum. Well, thank you, Brian. This is only my second attempt at this, so it's a learning curve for me. Like I said before, I bought a little webcam, and unfortunately, the cable isn't long enough to get on top of my monitor, so I have to look down if I'm making eye contact with the camera, and then look up to read what's going on. Buck's Woodshop. Hey, Barry. Hey, man. How's it going? Seb, 40-year-old paint. Yeah, if it's 40-year-old paint, I'd probably strip it, start over. There's yeah, I wouldn't even, I would just strip it. Yeah, gold. Yeah, got the gold. AR-15 dude use the gold Rage 15 or Rage. Sorry, Rage Gold, and it's easy to sand. Yep, I like that stuff. Pretty happy with it. One of these days, I'll have to get down to Buck's Wood Shop and do a live video with him. That could be fun. I don't know if you checked out his site or not. Look up Buck's Wood Shop on YouTube. Got a little green logo. It says Buck's Wood Shop on it. Wade Chandler. I know you sent the suspension parts for powder coating, but have you ever tried small parts on your own? If so, who did you get the gun from? I have not done any powder coating on my own, so no answer on that one. I wouldn't mind trying it, but I just have not. Dick Malloy, I watched the video on heater hose quick fix. Is a connector you use the same as a fuel AC line disconnect? I bought a 6-piece from size 5/16 to 7/8. I think it is. I think it is the same deal. I know when I did it, it was a quick job at the at the car auto parts store, so I didn't have the right tools and managed to get it. If you're talking about the Chevy, I managed to get it apart with the pocket knife, but I think it uses those disconnects. Let's see. Raymond Sawyers, do you find the gold Rage has shrinkage? Not really. I've had good luck with it over the years, and I mean, any hardener, any filler is going to shrink some, but I haven't had any issues with it. Danny Hurley, get gun from Eastwood for powder coating. Well, there you go. There's the answer to the powder coating question. Mine, Dick Malloy, mine looks like the old one. Okay. Okay. Wade Chandler. I saw Dan's answer, but they have a single and a dual voltage. In real life, there's a big difference. So maybe I'm confused by this. Can you guys see these, the chat information on here? The questions pop up? Because I know in a previous video, somebody responded to it later on saying I should have read all the questions. So that's what I've been doing. Hopefully that helps out. But I don't know if that's okay. Danny Hurley says yes. Okay, good. Buck's Woodshop. How's the Franken truck? That thing's running good, man. I still have some things to do to it. I posted a picture or two on Facebook where I found a big chunk of steel to make my bumper out of, and I still have some other things to do to it, but that I heard a phone ringing. So yeah, it's been running good. Haven't had any issues with it. Let's see. See you now, 44. Bought a 93 Mustang with bad surface rust on trunk lid, top, and hood. How should I prep? There are no dents. Well, with surface rust, there's a couple things you can do. I was using my product 3X. I posted a video on it. 3X Metal Prep or something like that. I picked it up from Summit, and it took care of that rust. It actually, if it's just surface rust, you brush that stuff on, and it takes it off. It's pretty cool. Let's see. Thomas Dane Jackson, seam sealer. I need to do my drip rails, and I see a lot of folks talking about self-leveling. If I go that route, where else could I use it so I don't end up throwing the remainder away? That's a good question. I don't know what kind of work you've done to the car beyond. I mean, if you're at that point, you probably stripped everything out. But I mean, you could use it in other seams, where the floor pans meet the inner rockers and stuff like that. But it's going to kind of flatten out. It's not going to stay built up. Otherwise, I don't have a good answer for you. I know what I typically use, though, is that I use brushable seam sealer, and I put a rubber glove on, and when I put it in that seam, I'll take my pinky and I'll wedge it down in the rain gutter and push it, drag it through that seam as hard as I can, and then my finger will kind of form that little channel and push it all to, smooth it back in there. And I just keep going over it. I may even take some lacquer thinner and try to dress it down a little bit more, doing the same action. But I haven't really used much of the self-leveling stuff. Mike DeFranco, do you have a bucket list car? Every car I've ever owned is a bucket list car. That's a good question. If you've seen the Model A video, you probably know the story on that. That was my grandfather's car, and that was a complete labor of love for him to build that car and get it back on the road before he passed. And so I will say that car has always been on my bucket list. My dad had a 69 Mach 1 that I would love to find or replicate. It was a Acapulco blue. My dogs are barking. It was Acapulco blue and black interior, had a 351 Windsor and a 4-speed. I've always just thought that would be the coolest car to find or put back together. But sorry about the barking dogs. So that would probably be one of the cars on my bucket list. So Brian Bergman, if you think others would be interested, I made a comment a few months ago about going into some detail about seam sealing. It's just worth talking about it. I mean, you could. Are you talking about a video, or I guess I'm a little confused by that. If you have a video, maybe you could show it to me, and I could reference it. NorrisNet, I use a self-leveling seam sealer in the Cal firewall area. That would be a good choice. ELSDP 45. Hello, car fans. And yes, we can see them. Okay. Tony's wheels, seam sealer and gutter. Use a small, round, stiff brush. Lacquer thinner helps, but not too wet. Yeah. If you had a brush like that, I'm sure it would probably help. I know just so happens if I force my pinky on edge into that, it works for me. But yeah, a brush would be nice to use as well. Sorry, I had some friends contacting me. Let's see. Talking about seam sealer, do you prefer brushable or the stuff in a caulk type tube? I tend to like the brushable. I think I use Evercoat is the brand I use. Somebody else had asked me about that in another video. I just like the brushable because a lot of the areas on these old cars, it had a brush. It was like brushed in. So just from an appearance standpoint, it looks. I like the way it looks. Gives a little bit of a texture. Um, I guess with the caulking type, you can push it in and you can leave it all lumpy, or you can take your finger and swipe through it and smooth it out. Oh, Brian Bergman, I just mean, do you think there would be interest in seeing a video on seam sealing? And I would, yeah. Well, that's probably a good idea. I might consider trying to do that. Some of the difficulty with seam sealing is the timeline, because trying to show stuff, and you guys probably don't know, I don't always get all my videos done in one take. I sometimes will have to. I may shoot a segment 5 or 6 times because I missed the words, or I missed a point that I wanted to show, or I missed a detail or something. And so, doing a seam sealer video, I could probably pull it off, but it would be a challenge, possibly if I had issues with the, stuff setting up too fast. Then I'd have problems getting, cleaned out and starting over. Raymond Sawyers, I like to see a video on seam sealing. I got a lot to do in the future. Well, I will consider doing one. I just can't say that it's a definite, but Duval's Garage. Hey, Joe, love the channel. You got mad skills. Well, thank you, man. I appreciate that. Been doing stuff like this for a long, long time. Wade Chandler, I'm not seeing one in your videos, but do you have a bead blasting cabinet in your shop? If so, what do you have? And if not, and you were buying one, any thoughts on brand size? What would you get? I have a media blasting cabinet from Harbor Freight. It's one of the upright ones. It's okay. It works. It's not the best. The major difficulty is lighting. It's got a really weak bulb inside, and you can't see anything. So a lot of my blasting I do by feel, and just kind of go over the parts and go back and forth. But that's the only blasting cabinet I have, and like I said, it's from Harbor Freight. John Gaston, Barry, do you or anybody out there know what 8.8 or 9-inch rear axle will bolt directly up to a 68 coupe Mustang? It started life as a 4-lug straight 6. Now it's a Pepe 302 C4 and still has a 7.5 rear. I don't know for sure. Obviously, if you could find, one from a V8 Mustang, I think any of those, any in the early Mustang eras, I believe, are the same. I could be wrong on that, but sorry, Brian Bergman, I don't want to hear excuses. I want results. Well, I'll do the best I can. Oh, there's Katie. My dog Katie came in. Raymond Sawyers. Barry, I think you should actually show how you grind the spot welds. I use a die grinder, which I find work great, but I guess there's no right or wrong. Yeah, I've actually have videos out there showing how I've done that. I think I have. I know I've shown mid-process and end result, but I tend to, you hear my dog snorting? I'm scratching her ears and she's making grunting noises. But I've used little cutoff wheels, and I've also used grinding wheels to get into the meat of the weld. Classic Ride Society. For media blasting, I would buy used. Look for Slat Blast from TP Tools. Okay. Raymond Sawyers, I got a 67 with 289 auto. I was wondering if that car would be a stock posi rear end. I doubt it. A lot of these cars didn't come with posies. That had to be a special order, whether it was a whatever model, California Special or GT or GT350, any of those. Posi was not the norm. That would be an extra that someone would have to pay for. Wade Chandler, 9-inch might be hard to come by these days. Cheap, but a standard V8 rear end can be found reasonable for Generation 1 Mustangs to get the 5-bolt pattern. That's true. In fact, I had in my 55 Chevy, I had a late model 8.8 rear end that was limited slip, and that thing was pretty impressive. I put a set of Moser axles in it and had them re-drilled to fit the Chevy bolt pattern because they were a Ford pattern prior, so that I could put the rally wheels on the 55 Chevy. Classic Ride Society. I bought my first bead blast cabinet from TP Tools, and then bought a bigger used one from the Scat Blast brand. Okay, that's a good reference. Haven't heard of those, but probably well worth looking up. Well, thank you all for checking in and watching these videos. It's kind of weird sitting here. I can't hear, obviously I can't hear your statements. All I hear is myself talking to myself. So trying to keep it active. Brian Bergman, I am 54 years old, and of all the cars I have bought, none came with a posi. A little mad, sucks for me. Yeah. Sometimes you have to go out of your way to make it happen. I know in the 68 Mustang, I talked about it. It's got an oddball rear end differential. The housing is out of a 58 or 59 Mercury. And it's narrower than a stock Ford 9-inch. It's 2.5 or 3 inches narrower. And so the wheels that I currently have on the car actually have spacers. I think they're 3/4 to an inch to push the wheels out a little bit. But I did that video on that 9-inch because it had a mini spool in it, which is basically a straight axle. It's more than a posi, it's a straight axle. Tony's wheels. Tony in Brisbane, Oz again. Still frozen, still 90 degrees. Yeah, I'm jealous of that, Tony. Land down under. Glad to have you here. I don't know, what time is it in Australia? I mean, it's the opposite side of the planet, isn't it? Wade Chandler, so how did you announce that you were doing the live tonight? I just caught it by accident. Well, I posted on the community page or the community section. I assumed it went out, but it was kind of late in the day. It was like 2 o'clock this afternoon when I decided to do it. And I think I posted it on my Joe Daddy's Facebook page too. But this is still a new technology for me. As far as doing the lives. And so I had trouble even getting it started. I didn't know what I was doing. I had to call. I had to use a lifeline for help. Let's see. Brian Bergman, I guarantee the Fairlane I'm building will have a posi. Well, good. Got to do burnouts in a Fairlane. Glenn Williams, have you built any Mopar? Actually, in my past, I have. One of the cars I have had was a 67 Belvedere, which was a GTX clone, but that was 30 years ago, I think. Yeah, about 30 years ago. That's the only Mopar I've had in that time period. But it was, like I said, a GTX clone. It was burgundy with a black vinyl top. Pretty cool looking car. And if I could find another one of those, I probably wouldn't mind having it. Put that on my bucket list too for the bucket list question. Classic Ride. I just bought a 73, 77 A-body posi rear end with Richmond 373 gears out of the pick and pull yard for $55. Half off sale. Man, that's a steal. Good for you. Tony's Wheels, 11:30 a.m., Brisbane, East Coast. Well, I'm glad you're up and at 'em. I guess you're taking a lunch break, checking out the videos. Seb, overheating differential fluid issues, clutches or bearings. I don't have an answer on that. Sorry, I don't have an answer for that, Seb. I mean, it's probably clutches, I would say, though, based on what your question says. Glenn Williams, 440. Okay. The engine I built I actually built a 383 Magnum for the 67 Belvedere, which is the same as a 440, or basically it's a big block. So yeah, I have some experience doing that. But it's funny. Growing up, my brother and I, we did some racing on a small dirt track, and he would only run Mopar stuff. So he ran, I think it was 74 Satellite Sebring Plus with a 340 in it. And I just drove a big Bomber. It looked like the Blues Brothers police car, and it had a 400 in it. And we just go out and have fun beating and banging in those things. Norris Net, check out Quick Performance for 9-inch rear ends. They will custom build to fit. Good call. Tom Stain Jackson, I was notified on my phone you were live. Well, I guess that's one way it works. I don't know. I'm glad you're here. Yeah, in fact, Glenn, I've got, that race car trade I did for the 55 Chevy. The one car is a roller, and the other car is almost a turnkey car. It needs a little bit of finish work done to it, but it's got a built 440 sitting on the front of it. And, of course, headers and all. I mean, it's a Phantom Roadster. So I won't take it apart. I'm going to sell that one as a roller. I don't want to dismantle it. But there's somebody out there that's going to want that car complete. And that one will sell with the trailer and everything. So, but yeah, I'm still trying to sell off those other pieces. I've got that 427 with the Hilborn fuel injection, mechanical fuel injection system on it that I'm trying to sell. And I've got the 454 that's built that also I'm trying to sell pieces and parts. And then I've got the Ford 352 FE engine. I think it's out of a mid-60s truck, and plan to sell that as well. Seb, did you ever sell those big blocks? Not yet. Come get it. Or if you're not, well, I'd be happy to sell it to you, either one of them. Rick Middleton, thank you for all your Mustang videos. We are storing a 65 Fastback and are having issues with rear floor and panel replacement. Yeah, was the car ever wrecked? Do you know if the frame rails are straight? I don't know what pieces you're using that might be giving you a fight, but there's lots of things that can cause problems if the car wasn't straight to start with. Well, Glenn, maybe you want one of these Phantom Roadsters. You can run that. That would be pretty cool. Rick Middleton, no damage, just rust. Well, I'm not sure what the fitment issues are, but all I can say is keep at it. Eventually, it's funny. I've put stuff together and taken it apart, and put it together and taken it apart, and every time I've done it, it's been a different fit. And sometimes you just have to keep going back and forth until everything just magically goes into place. I mean, it's a struggle sometimes. I mean, even hanging a fender, you think if I put this mark here and this mark there, take it off, put it back on. Nope, that's not working. Something's always changing. Looking at Dynacorn replacement panels. Yep. Probably a good choice, especially being a floor pan. Yeah, aftermarket parts. Some are just, honestly, some are just garbage. I hate to say that. I mean, I'm glad they're making these parts, but you're right. Some of that stuff is just not good. Brian Bergman, have you had any experience with the Monkey Grip Posi helical style? If so, could you speak to it? I have not. That is something that's a new term for me. I haven't heard that. Monkey Grip Posi. I have not heard of that. No idea what that is. Helical style. Yep. Sorry about that. Don't know what that is. So the clamping pliers you use for holding your parts while you weld, if you're starting out, how many pair is kind of a minimum and what sizes? Never enough. I mean, I would say I would get minimum 4 of this. I guess they're 6-inch vice grips with a C jaws, and I'd get 4 with the tips. I'd get 4 with the swivels on the heads on the face, and then I'd get 4 of the next size up of the swivels. Get a variety of straight clamps, straight style. I mean, you can never have enough vice grips. I can say that, but probably a good, depending on your panels as well, what kind of pieces you're putting together. I can never have enough. I used to have at the body shop, I had a tree that I made that was just packed full of vice grips, and many times I used every one of them. RMTBC, Rick, see if you can find the data specs. It will help you make sure your car is straight and stay straight while you're rebuilding. That's a good call. Honky Grip is a brand. Oh, Monkey. Yeah, okay, that looks better. Monkey Grip. Yeah, I'm not familiar with that. Sorry. Rick Middleton, we are having to replace so much. We think we should have just got a Dynacorn replacement body. Just the cost was so high. That is true. A lot of people don't realize that. They advertise that body at $17,500 or whatever for whatever body, but they don't tell you about shipping, and they don't tell you about tax, and suddenly you're into it for 22 grand, and you realize, hey, wait a minute, I didn't realize how much this was truly going to cost. So Raymond Sawyer's waiting 11 days on quarters. I hope they fit good. I hope they fit so too. Glenn Williams, go to Harbor. Wade Chandler sounds like when kids ask, what does dad want for birthday? Christmas center. Yes, vice grips. And, of course, the best brand out there was Vice Grip brand. And then they sold to, I can't think of the name right now. It starts with an I. Irwin. I think they sold out to Irwin, and then they started making them in China. They're still good, but they're not as good as the old original vice grips. But yeah, you can go to Harbor Freight and buy all kinds of those things. I'm always going to default to a vice grip brand, but for quantity, I'll go to Harbor Freight because you're not clamping together the space shuttle. You're doing sheet metal. So, just having those having many cheaper ones available is better than having a few expensive ones. So we'll put it that way. Mike Franco, Super Ford Swap Meet in the spring here in Columbus, Ohio. You should take a road trip. Come check it out. You never know. Can't say I will. Can't say I won't. Rick Middleton, a quote we had was shippings, $24,275. $24,275 for a new Dynacorn body. I can tell you this, you can buy all the, like I'm doing with the Brooklyn Pony. You can buy almost all those pieces for less than half of that, far less than half of that. Yeah, you're right, Roger Irwin. Let's see. AR-15 dude, 351 Windsor or 302? Yes. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what you're really asking there. I can't tell you much about either one. I mean, the 302 is obviously the one that's got the most visual reputation. The 351 Windsor, people look at it and they don't think about it so much. You know, they tend to go to a 390 or something like that. But Brian Bergman's fair enough. So would you have a suggestion for a budget limited slip for a Ford 8-inch? You know, the I forget what year it was, 94 or something like that. Was what year the 8.8 was used in my 55 Chevy. I think it was like a 94 Mustang GT. And I think those were actually 4-lug, but you can get the axles. Moser will make you new axles to fit that thing and drill them to fit whatever lug pattern you want to come up with. So I hope that answers that question. Let's see, Norris Nats. When do you start making bodies? Yeah, we probably could be making some bodies. And I don't know if we could make money at it, but probably could. Oh, 351 or 302 overall performance. I don't know. I can't say one or the other. I guess it depends how much money you want to throw at either one of them. I would venture to say the 302 has more options as far as a build, you know, what you can put into it. But I can't. I can't say either one specifically. Sorry. Raymond Sawyer's, yes, Barry, the Brooklyn was all aftermarket panels, wasn't it? Yep, pretty much. I saved just a few of the inner pieces, the rear seat area, the drip rail, the inner structure for the quarter glass, and of course the A-pillars and dash and that sort of thing. So yeah, there's not much. Oh, and the door hinges. I saved the door hinges, as I said I would, in the initial video I did in that car. Rick Middleton, you and I emailed each other a few times, and I sent you a pic of our 56 Thunderbird and our 69 Mach 1. Yes. Yeah, I do remember that. And the 69 and 70 Mach 1s do a lot for me. I mean, I really like the 68 fastback, but, you know, 69 or 70 Mach 1 are really up there as well. Rick Middleton, maybe we could show you the 69 to fund our 65 project. You know, never know. In fact, let's see, Duval's Garage. I see some calling you Barry. I guess I missed your true name. Sorry about that. That's okay. You know, in my opening video, my introductory video, I say, you know, my name is Barry, and most people call me Bear. It's just the name I've gotten used to. Yeah, Rick. In fact, I was just going to say I went to a friend's house just this past week and paid for the 65 Mustang Coupe. I bought another Mustang. It's a 65 Coupe. It's 289 3-speed manual car, and it's in primer. and really solid car. And starts and runs and drives. And at some point, I'll probably get it together and I'm going to say paint it, but I don't know if I will. I may just resell it. I don't know yet, but really solid car. Let's see. Joe Peltola. You need to do a 2+2. If maybe whenever shows up. Raymond Sawyer's. How much cheaper? Half price. I'm not sure if that was the talking about the buying a Donicorn body or not. Rick Middleton, we have followed your Brooklyn Tony videos to the letter to aid with the 65. They were a huge aid. Awesome. That's great. Thank you for that. And you know, I don't really mention this very often, but if you can like my videos, share my videos, every bit of that helps me down the road with the YouTube process. The 69 is a nurse matching 390. Well, that sounds nice. Is it automatic or is it 4-speed? Raymond Sawyer's. I sell you a 65 4-speed. Yeah. Well, I've already got the 65 3-speed. I wouldn't mind putting a 4-speed tranny in it. That would be an upgrade. Would like to send you some photos of my 69 Fairlane build. Is the email on the YouTube channel I can send them to? Yes. JoeDaddy'sGarage@gmail.com. Probably already asked, but are you able to reveal the origin of Joe Daddy? Yeah. If you, in my opening video, I actually explain it. My daughter's name is Joelle, or as we call her, Joe or JoJo. So J-O is basically a shortened version of her name, and I'm her daddy. So it kind of made sense as far as verbally, I guess, however you want to say it, that it rolls pretty nice to say Joe Daddy's Garage. There was also expressions back years ago that they would, I've seen pictures or whatever says Joe Daddy's Garage, or I don't know, but I remember seeing something along those lines. So that was kind of a merge of those things I've seen and using my daughter's name as a reference. So that's where that came from. Have you seen the fiberglass conversion to a turn, a convertible to a fastback? What are your opinions? Convertible to a fastback. If you're talking about the removable top, I have really not looked into that very much. I think I've seen it, but I haven't seen it enough, or have seen one in person, or even videos on it to know whether I like it or not. So I can't really give you an opinion. 265 Chevy. Hey, buddy, how's everything? Hope you're staying warm. I am staying warm. I'm in the house. I thought the temperatures were going to get better. On Monday, it was 66. I think it was Monday or Sunday. Sunday was 66. Monday, it was, high 50s, and it's gone downhill since then. So frustrating. I don't like being out there in the cold. It's a 4-speed. Okay. Oh, 4-speed. Oh, 4-speed Mach 1. Oh, man. What can I trade you? Danny Hurley, have you ever Pro Street a first generation Camaro? No, I have not. I did the mini tubs on that 68 Camaro, but as far as the whole Pro Street thing, I have not. Said, when do you decide to replace the whole panel versus patching general sheet metal? That's a good question. Generally, I like to do the whole panel, like if it's a quarter panel or whatever, because then you don't have any seams. Um, you can do a skin, save the top of the fender or quarter panel, but because it's harder to do a butt weld and do it finish real nice on the inside, um, I just like to do the whole thing. That way I eliminate any other issues of where there may be rust or problems, but um, it's just kind of, I don't know, I guess I default to doing the whole panel. It makes more sense to me. Rick Middleton, I saw one at Barrett Jackson this week, and that's why I asked. It was obvious it was modified. Oh, okay. Yes, it's still winter. You're right. Have you worked on Mustang's package tray rust, etc.? No, I have not. Um, that seemed like an odd location for rust, but I'm guessing you're having issues with that. So, Duval's Garage, yeah, I do need to put heat out there. The difficulty is my garage is full of stuff, and I've got stuff up in the rafters. I've got you probably haven't seen it. I have a complete front end for a 72 Chevy up there, 72 Chevy pickup. It's all original, rust-free metal because I had delusions of using it, and then I sold all my 72 Chevy trucks that I had. So that stuff is just sitting up there. But it's also one of those things where if I know if I sell it, I'm going to need it. So, but there's so much stuff on the walls and everywhere else that it's just a struggle. But I will get there at some point. You're a credit to the Adam Mechanics. Well, you're welcome, Rick, and thank you for that comment. Oh, it's a Cougar. Okay. Yeah, I have not had to do any package tray work on that. How big is my garage? Well, the main shop is 24 by 36, 24 wide, 36 deep. And then the paint booth area on the backside would be 24 by 14. I'm not really worried about heating that area so much as the front section. And it's a lot of space, and the ceiling is also, I think it's 11'8" or something like that, not quite 12 feet. So, believe me, I want it insulated, and I want to figure out how to make it happen. And I don't know. I guess I just need to stop doing everything else and get all the stuff off the walls and start putting up insulation and hanging sheetrock. So, just takes time. Yeah, that Bronco was I think I would have enjoyed digging into that, and things just got too much. Sometimes I hate to turn down any kind of project. I love all these old cars, and you know, it's hard for me to say no, but I'm having to learn to say no to people. Um, Not so much that I don't want to do it; it's just that I don't have time. Uh, I tend to. Uh, we tend to. I tend to. I do one car at a time, but I've got my own projects that are sitting on the side, and if I could, man, I would have a huge shop full of cars. Uh, Maybe if I hit the lottery, I could buy a giant warehouse and start working on them. But I guess the first problem is I need to play the lottery, but I don't do that either. Uh, Hey, we all know this about our viewing pleasure, not your life. Oh, okay. Did yours in pegboard? Well, that would be different. Uh, I'd probably still do sheetrock in mine. If you want to keep using the attic, you might want to think about spray foam for the roof. We did our house, and they actually spray the under. That's a good idea. I hadn't thought about that too much, but that's a good idea. I may have to consider that. Yeah, you can. Texas definitely does. You don't have to worry about the cold there. I've been there several times. Uh, Duval's Garage, lots of good content to put on your channel if you do the garage upgrades. Yeah, you're right. How many? I'm guessing it's CU now 44. How many custom projects in waiting? Or you mean custom as in customer? That number just keeps on growing. Um, I get contacts several times a month. People wanting to send me cars or projects or multiple projects, but it's just me, so I really can't do that. I can't take on all those. Yeah, that would have been a cool Bronco project. I agree. Well, Wade, if you want to, yeah, you can come down and have my shop sprayed, and we'll see how it works out. Come spray, have it insulated, and we'll see if it works, and then you can justify doing it at your place. um, and now you guys got me thinking. Spray foam. I'm ready to go call somebody. Yep. Hindsight. Too bad you didn't have the channel when you built the garage. Yeah. Well, you helped with that, so it would have been nice to have that in process showing that how it was built. Yeah, the pegboard would be good for hanging things off the wall or hanging things on wall off a floor. Yeah. Um, I don't think I have a whole lot of things that are on the floor that would even hang well on pegboard. Um, Anything I have on the floor is probably pretty heavy and needs to stay on the floor. But really, I just need to reduce material, get rid of stuff that I don't use or don't need. And you know how it is. You get something and you've had it for 15 years and you go, I'm so sick of looking at this. And you toss it. And then the next day, you need it. Yeah, I would say the garage building was probably not the norm. Um, for those of you that are following along, uh, hindsight 6'7" is my neighbor, and we built the garage. He helped me build the garage after the concrete was poured, and we, if you imagine two of us putting together a 36-foot wall and then standing it up with just the two of us, and then standing up the other, the other walls around it. That was pretty sketchy, but it worked. And later on, I ended up putting the big, we're talking 24-foot trusses with 2-foot overhangs, and I stood the first 5 of those up by myself, which is probably not a good plan, but then I got help. Let's see here. Spray foam is good, but it's not that cheap. Well, I may have to still look into it. I think I saw somebody advertising some of that or some on sale somewhere. So I'll look into that. AR-15 recommended as well. Yep. Wade Chandler, that's why I have fenders on my walls for cars I don't have. Yeah. Just in case I find one someday that needs fenders like that 69 convertible. Yeah. Yeah, Raj, you were, 120 pounds soaking wet. That's true. Spray foam, expensive, not worth the savings. I'm not sure what you're saying there. Reg bats ins, bats. Toxic if not applied correctly. Okay. Well, I'll have to I'll have to look into it, see what information I can find. Because I really would like to keep my rafters. Okay. Lowe's would be a good choice, I guess. Um, yeah, Fender collection. Yeah, it's easy to hang on to stuff. Yeah, that's a good idea. Uh, I think I could probably, instead of renting storage containers, um, I could probably condense everything to one side of the garage or the other. Oh, bat insulation, Pink Panther stuff. Okay. Oh, I see what you're saying. Bat insulation. No, Vaporberry. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Okay, Wade. Tony's wheels, butt welding panels. What is good gap, if any, you allow? We talked about that a little bit earlier. Somebody had mentioned the whatever width of welding wire you're using is a pretty good reference. So, uh, I use 0.023, 23 thousandths. So you can kind of eyeball that. It also somewhat depends on your welding skill, what you're comfortable welding, or you know, um, I've welded pretty big gaps with 23 thousandths wire, but I do it in just little tiny spurts of weld to fill them in. But if you can, the tighter the gap, the better off you'll be. The only issue is if you make it too tight and you don't tack it properly, you can start walking. You could walk the seams together. Even having them clamped, sometimes it'll pull a little bit, or draw them together. So you have to be careful with that. That's why I always stress tacking uh, the perimeter. So so what else? Anybody? If I keep this up, my wife might show up and stick her head back in here again. Get a mini split system for the shop will help on cost. I guess mini split system. You mean air conditioning? Gray 67 Fastback. Do you know what engine the owner of the Brooklyn Pony is going to go with? My understanding is it's going to be a 302 with fuel injection, but that's as much as I know. He did mention about getting it from Summit, but I don't know the specifics um, just at this point. Currently I'm just trying to get the body together and get it ready to, install that sort of stuff as it comes along. But I've got to get everything prepped. Oh, okay. Split heating system. Is that when you say split system? Is that one of them you're talking about where it diverts air from one side to the other, or like in a house it shuts off certain rooms? Brian Bergman, have you or do you find butt oil clamps to be useful? Um, I've used them. Cheap setup from Harbor Freight. I use them on the Ford. I think they're 51 Ford F1 fenders that I did. They were very handy. They actually helped, square things up. Um, I doubt I'd use them on a full length quarter panel. Um, it's just not, I mean, in certain areas it will work great, but since I do a full quarter panel, I don't do skins very often. Then it's doesn't really work with how I do things. But if you were doing a skin, it would probably be pretty useful. Um, I have a set of those, and I do use them on occasion. Dick Malloy, you can put on roof or floor, runs on a continuous cycle. Okay. Well, I'll have to look that up. I'm not familiar with it, but I'll have to look it up. Oh, okay. Mini splits are usually used in bonus rooms or basement. Mitsubishi has some. You can Google it. Okay. Or is that similar to like a hotel room would have? Oh, I get it now. Yeah. Um, I know somebody who actually has one of those in their garage, and it's from it's like a hotel unit. Yeah, like in a hotel. Okay. Yep. I considered looking into one of those. I think for me, if I just get the thing insulated, that's going to be a major help. Just and I can even have a kerosene heater going, and that's going to make a world of difference. Yeah, depending on size. Yeah. I mean, I'm not against putting in an actual furnace and air conditioner. I mean, it's wouldn't bother me. Asia uses them run in negative 27 degrees. Wow, that's pretty good. I think here, being here in Georgia, it'll be just having it insulated will make a world of difference. Back to cars. Have the rear glass got to come out to put a quarter panel on? Um, you're referring to the Mustangs. The 60. Well, I would recommend pulling the glass out. It's not part of that structure. Um, I mean, it's depending on the car. Like when I do my quarters, I cut them short, and you can see where there's a seam. I have to visualize this. Yeah, the seam. I cut it below the window channel or the window opening, so that where the radius is in the corner, I'll cut below that and then bring the quarter up to that. So technically, you don't have to take out the glass, but I would still recommend taking out the glass because you run a risk of having weld spatter get on it, and that's going to cause problems down the road. I mean, if you were going to do the quarter, I think I'm trying to picture. I've done so many different ones that I think I can't remember if it makes up part of the actual channel or not. Um, I would pull the glass either way. I mean, it's just me. I wouldn't leave it in because you're going to repaint the whole thing if you're going that far. So, Jordan West, where do you typically buy your Mustang parts? I buy them for the most part from Mustangs Unlimited, and I've said it before because they're only about an hour from my house, and so I can go there and I can hold the panels in my hands. I can look for flaws or defects and decide whether I want that panel right then and there. Um, it's just convenient for me. I've also had good luck with CJ Pony parts, and if I've had issue, they've been really responsive to problems. Hi, Fairway. Good to see you, or good to see you're here. Do you still use lead on roof seams and rockers? No, I do not. Typically, when I'm doing a quarter, I will burn out the lead or melt it out with a torch, and then sand out or remove the residue as best I can, and then it'll eventually get back refilled with filler. Matthew Watson, out of curiosity, do you paint your cars yourself, or do you contract that out? I have not had that question, but I do paint the cars myself. I don't consider myself a very. I will say I don't consider myself a very good painter. I am a body guy for the most part, and beyond that, I am a mechanic. Uh, growing up in my dad's salvage yard, I became a mechanic first, and then I kind of morphed into doing the body work, which to me is I love it because it's like you're being an artist, and recreating or creating a car from pieces and parts. So it's kind of like an art form. But I do paint. I don't. I'll say I don't particularly care to paint because it's kind of like I don't know. It's kind of like doing woodwork. If we're doing a woodworking project and you cut it wrong, there's no fixing that. You have to go back and start over. That's the way I look at paint. Um, I'm very meticulous in what I do, and I think I do a pretty good job. But I can't say that I'm 100% comfortable because there's always something that's could go wrong, and then you're having to start over. Um, so yeah, but yeah, I do my own paint. You shopped at Mustangs Unlimited while in Georgia. Yep, they're good people. Uh, Raymond, I've noticed you cut the quarter just below the factory joint. Why is that? Would it be better to go with factory joint on 60s? I do cut below the seam, the seam because it becomes complicated. Basically, if you were looking at how they built these cars, from my understanding, the quarters were put on, the deck filler piece was all installed, and the roof was put on last. So if you look at it from that aspect, to do the quarter, in my mind, the absolute right way, you're going to have to take the roof off, or at least enough of the metal to make that, slide up in there. So that's why I cut it below that seam. I'd rather work that than have to mess with the roof line at all. So, yeah, thanks, Roger. I paint, but it's not it's not my favorite thing to do. I'd rather have a welder in my hands. Let's see. Yeah, Matthew Watson. Yeah, things can go wrong fast. They really can. How do you set up your paint booth? Do you seal off your garage with plastic sheeting, use box fans, or do you have access to a real booth? Well, if you look up, you can look up the video I made. I think I did a video called Paint Booth, and it's a space. It's 24 by 14, and it has a standard garage door on it, but it's fully insulated and sealed. The garage door is not. It just has seals on the outside, so it's closed. Uh, and I have two windows on the back wall or the side wall with box fans, and then there's an entry door in the front corner where the air comes in. And for the most part, that's all I do. I don't have any no real special filter system or anything. I usually only end up painting one car a year, so I don't have anything fantastic set up in there. But as far as plastic, I don't really block it off. Have you ever tried the factory join? Not sure what that means, Ray. Yeah, I was really happy with Mystique. Uh, that car, that's one of my favorite colors, as I mentioned before. Um, but I was very, very pleased with that car. Faraway or Faraway. Just wondering, have you ever used the Qualcomm Genesee Carbonio 360 guns? I'm going to say no. I can't say I've ever heard of those, so I'm going to say no. It sounds kind of fancy, but I don't know. I can't say I've ever used one because I've never heard that name before. Yeah, Matt, check it out. You'll see. I do have a water separation system built in. Then I have LED lights in there on the sidewalls and fluorescents overhead. So Adelberg Peterson, love your work. Keep it up. That's the plan. And I'm going to say Adelberg, you're not from the United States. I would guess Norway, but I'm not sure on that one. Maybe. Raymond Sawyer's factory joint on quarters. No, I have not done the factory joint. I think I tried it once, and I really didn't like the results. So I just kind of Iceland. That was my second guess. Honestly, that was my second. I was gonna say Iceland too, but sorry. When I see the little accents on the letters, and obviously not a standard what I would say English or American name. Cool looking name though. But no, Ray, I have not really done the factory quarter. I don't like dealing with that roof line. Do you know anything about All Candy Wet Wet? Nope. I'm sorry. I'm unfamiliar with that term or whatever that may mean. Sorry. The answer is no. I hope I'm saying Adelberg right. Peterson looks pretty basic, but Adelberg is different. And do you have a project over there you're working on? Oh, it's a clear. No, I have not. I'm not familiar with that, Glenn. Sorry. I'm here my dogs out barking. They're trying to make noise. Hungry? Who's hungry? All Candy Wet Wet is from the Auto Barn. Clear, same thing. Okay. Yeah, like I said, I've been using a European clear, and I don't know the name of it right now. Oh yeah, dogs. Actually, they'll bark at anything that goes on outside the house. So, Joe, you should try to clear wet. It's a good clear. Okay, I may consider that. My friend Glenn. So it's called Wet Wet. That's interesting. I've been looking at some of that chrome paint. Have you all seen that where you can brush it on and then it dries and looks very close to chrome? Have you ever tried that? Yes, you're getting the name right. No project at my place. Okay. Well, that's interesting. If you don't mind me asking, Adelberg, what prompted you to find, or how did you get interested in my YouTube channel? I mean, I have people following me from all over the world, really. I think I did one search, and I've had people view my videos in like 260 different countries. But obviously, I would, guys from Australia and Norway and Switzerland or Sweden, sorry, Sweden and France, and you know, all over the place. But I'm kind of curious. Iceland, I'm just kind of interested in how you found my channel or what made you start watching, or if you're just watching now. I don't know if you just tuned in because it's a live video. Wade, who makes that chrome paint? That's a good question. You have to Google that. I don't know the name of the company, but I've seen videos to where it looks amazing. I mean, literally, they brush it on, and as it kind of like almost self levels, and I mean, it is for almost a mirror finish. So just do a Google search on that, you'll see it. It's pretty neat. I thought about trying it on some just metal parts, but I would assume that you have to have a perfect finish. Obviously, you'll see any flaws, just like a mirror. If it had scratches in it, you'll see those scratches. Yeah, spray chrome is not what this stuff is. Not at all. I mean, I've seen some stuff done like that, but this thing is a brush on, and I don't want to pull away from the channel. I could probably find a link somewhere, but it's a brush. Maybe easy chrome. That might be it. I don't know. ALSA. Yep. Yeah. ALSA Corporation. I think that's one of them. Is that? Did you see the video or did you look it up? Brushable chrome. Because that's, like I said, it's pretty incredible, and I think they can tint it too, to where it's red or blue or whatever you want, but it's a chrome. I said too much. I don't know, Brian. What did you say? Did I lose you? I don't know, Brian. What do you mean? Okay. Chrome paint or chrome wet chemical process. Saw demo on Jay Leno Garage. Huh. I don't know, Brian. I don't see anything popping up on my screen, so I don't know. I don't know what the problem is. Brushable chrome paint, yeah. Maybe check the, like I said, videos are pretty amazing. Adelberg, I'm poor car guy, love cars, and I don't have the money for garage or second cars. Oh, well, I'm glad you're watching. I'm glad you're interested, at least. That's cool. Sorry you can't have a second car, or money for garage. I mean, but I'm glad you're interested, at least seeing what's going on. Huh. Yeah, I don't know about the characters and all that number count for the letters. Like I said, it's only my second time doing this, so still a learning process. But I will try to, like I said, we'll try to go do it somewhere else. I'm also forget who I had talked to. I did the road show with Nathan and I did the other one with Mike. And I might try to do another version of that with another follower. We've kind of gone back and forth. Might try to do a video over Skype and see if can't do a road show from at his place from my computer. And so we might try to do a road show. Still trying to work out the logistics in that, but that could be fun. And yeah, I don't know if it actually shows. I don't know why it's prompting me. Let's see here. Oh, there we go. I don't know the value of me typing on there, but I have a little crown, so I guess that means something. Yeah, I do too. The road shows I think is fun because it's I get I like to see what people are working on too because even though I do this stuff a lot, I get kind of bored on my own. But uh, thanks, Wade. Um, but I really want to see what other people are doing and how they're doing it. There's plenty to learn, and I don't like obviously I don't mind sharing what I know, but there's always something new to learn or observe, gain knowledge from. How long does Bondo last to put on right? Well, if you put on uh, good Bondo, and I hate to say Bondo because Bondo is a brand name, and it's not a very good brand name, in my opinion. But there's no reason. I've worked on a car. It was a '69 Camaro, and nobody knew that the car was basically built out of Bondo. Like the quarters were a half-inch thick in places. We didn't know it when we started digging into it because we were just going to do a repaint. But the car was done 25 years prior, and it had never been really in bad weather at all. It was always hand washed with, like a spray mist, Meguiar's. So it never had any kind of heavy water on it, and it was still as solid as could be. But we didn't find that out until we started digging into the paint to repaint it. Adelberg I broke my first bolt at 6 years old. Loved cars since. That's pretty cool. Yeah, I grew up. My dad had a salvage yard, so I've been around cars since I was born. My Joe Patola, my 66 2+2 just came with one torque box. Is it worth adding the second one? That's debatable. It's funny that they built those cars with one torque box, but they did. To put it in properly, you're going to have to go through the floor pan, as I've shown in my other videos. I think the top half of the torque box actually sits on top of the frame rail, if I remember correctly. So it's up to you if you want to dig into it that far to make that happen. I do like the idea of the torque boxes. There was a 60, I don't know, 70 Mustang I worked on as a teenager, and it had been an accident, and it hit so hard in the accident that the passenger side tire was pushed up into the floor pan of the passenger seat area. So you can get some idea of the amount of force from that kind of an accident. But I mean, they're designed obviously for torque function, but it's also kind of a safety thing as well. It just gives you a lot more strength in that area. Brian Bergman, a very specific question you may or may not know. I bought a '69 parts car, had inner rockers, now I think bad outers, also floor pans. I've decided to fix this and make it my driver. Oh, I think I can fix it. When is it too much? Raymond. Sorry, I've got a bunch of questions stacked up here. Brian, I think I can fix it. When is it too much? Well, um, is it a coupe or is it a fastback or sports roof? That's going to be your bigger uh, question to answer, because the fastback or sports roof is a more valuable car overall for the most part. So you have to ask yourself, is it worth it from that standpoint? In my opinion. Raymond, I think I can fix it. When is? Oh no, I got to the front and floor and I removed one pan. I never see a torque box. Yeah, not all cars were built with torque boxes. It was almost an optional thing, I think, at some point. Brian says formal. I don't know what that means. Oh, hardtop. So it's a coupe. 69 coupe. Okay. Okay, so I get it now. Yeah, you have to decide, is it worth it to you? That's the biggest question. Um, I don't know if you said where you were from, and I don't know how hard it is to find these cars in your area, but that's all part of it. Is it worth it to you? And if it's not, can you find another one that is uh, more solid? Is probably the bigger question. You thought that Wade thought they all had one torque box, but that the convertibles had two. I don't think that's accurate. I don't, because I know my '68 coupe, it had both torque boxes, and I had to replace all that stuff. Um, so I think it was the early cars. I don't think had any torque boxes, and then they realized there was a problem, so they started putting in one torque box, and I don't know if it was, I don't know the exact reasoning, whether they decided to do one and that was enough, or if later on they decided there was two. So I think the earlier cars only had one, or first they had none, and then they started putting in one, and then later on they started putting in two, because I know for a fact my '68 had two torque boxes. Um, so, and maybe they just found that it was better to put in both later on. I don't know. I don't know the specifics on that one. Um, okay. I got worried when I saw the torque box. I thought it was beat up, but all good. Okay. Yeah, as I've shown in a couple of videos, the torque box, they're a pain. Just be honest. Um, you're never going to put one in as a one-piece unit. I don't see how you could without bending or breaking something. So that's why I always take them apart, even though I buy them as an assembly, and then piece them back in. Dogs are getting antsy. All right. I think I'm getting close to wrapping this one up. What year's your car, Ray? Seb. Any reason you ever wanted the TCI suspension? No, not sure. I think he did his research on them, and it's what he wanted. He looked at a bunch of different components and systems, and I think that one did the most for him, and he was happy with what they offered. So that's all I can really say on that. But I think I'm going to call it a night, guys. It's been fun. I'm glad you all were here. Okay, 67. All right, see you, Jeff. And we'll do this again sometime. I think this is entertaining. It's nice to field questions and talk to people. Or it'd be kind of nice if I could actually hear people talk. It's kind of hard to read the thing and then try to respond. But yep, there you are, Wade. Thank you. We'll see you, Adelberg. Ryan, you're all welcome. Yep. All right. I don't know when I'll get the next video posted, but I will say that I am doing a collision repair video on a 2013 Nissan Rogue. It's a driver's side front fender, and it's going to show you some techniques that I use to restore body lines. So that I'm working on that video right now, and that'll be probably the next thing I put up. So stay tuned for that, and y'all have a good night. And as usual, thanks for watching.